that would be a pattern that would repeat itself throughout history. We could just take Egyptian civilization,
right,
and just in the dynastic period, we're talking about millions of years after creation in the dynastic period, they make something evil out of that preceded it.
Now why,
which was the earlier priesthood.
Now why did they do that?
It is an age-old question that haunts man. And the ultimate one is simply ignorance. The misunderstanding of something that might be a little more remote that you can contemplate. And they say over and over again, that which the later generations could not understand, they swept in a trash pile of moralism, of evil and wicked. So the Typhonian Egyptians, which is pre-dynastic Egyptians, become evil to the dynastic Egyptians. Several schools later, a Hebrew sect, which is Egyptians, would label all Hemmit evil or Egyptian evil. And a Christian sect, which spawns out of a combination of different groups, but of that time and later on labeled Hebrew evil. And a Muslim sect that is a direct derivative of lineage of the Christian and the Hebrew, will later on name Christianity evil. And all modern concepts of what is called religion will later on name all the ancient world evil. So first it started out with priesthood of scientific views, leveling the other aspect because they didn't understand certain practices that had gone on thousands of years before.
Right.
Meanwhile, you must understand this. This is not just a few years in contriving or making this thing happen. This is thousands of years. We're talking about the pre-dynastic aspect would be equivalent to almost maybe 10,000 years compared to the dynastic. It's just that old. So it is natural for them to come on the scene and things deteriorate, or certain mysteries of knowledge or misunderstandings, the knowledge would be lost and misunderstandings would occur, that they would start calling the other ones evil. Or we can go on to say this, that we exacerbated it more by not understanding that even those in the ancient world might have not been talking about the same kind of evil that we're talking about here. Because it is interesting here that all of the pharaohs that we look at, they're always standing between Horus and Set. And if they're standing between Horus and Set, then we ask this particular question. Were these polarities? Or was it wicked? Now, if we take the modern concept of religion, and we would have God and the archangels as we dare not call it a pantheon, because they're supposed to be monotheistic.
Right, right.
But we know that the archangels used to be the pantheon of the letters.
Right.
We would take these archangels, and they would be in the court of God. God, Jesus, the archangels.
Okay.
And you would call that the heaven realm. By no means would that pantheon ever have Satan among them present. Well, why is it that we can take the same Egyptian pantheon and Set is always present in the lineup of gods?
Yep, sure is.
Then obviously, we are even looking at this thing from a standpoint of not understanding that they didn't view this same wickedness and these taboos of uncertainties and fear when it came to their deities.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
At least the high priest didn't. Now there might have been some tricks played on the common folk, but which in this particular case the common folks can't never understand that no way. You see. So now we're unraveling these things, and we've gotten beyond the spookism of understanding science at its core. That dark simply means, number one, more powerful, more ancient. You see what I'm saying? And ultimately, the doorway. You see what I'm saying? Because obviously, the enemy, both the gods and the adversary on earth, you see, want to keep you away from it.
So then if we understand that, then, so how now are we supposed to apply it against the enemy or to live then?
Well, going deeper into the endeavors of knowledge, you find out even greater mysteries. That there's really no enemy. There's only role-playing and illusions set up by the architects or the gods in heaven that are pulling the strings in the first place. And you ultimately find out that those particular gods in the heavens no longer exist. And in so many words, the only enemy is the ignorance of our own mind.
Wow.
But I mean, that sounds like, I mean, that old, the Zeus shit, where, you know, where the gods were manipulating the lives of the people.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay. But what about, but is down here, what, are the white folks our enemy?
Huh?
White people. I mean,
They are, let's take the movie The Matrix. They know that there was a grand architect. You saw the big white man with the beard. But we know that that architect would be, when you would figure out who he was he would be the actual person that's responsible for these illusions. But nevertheless, his army was the agents. So one is the extension of the other. In this case, the Europeans are one of the extensions of the demiurge, and all of that demiurge and those particular entities of those forces now no longer have the power, and some are even dead. His extension is still permeating the planet. You see what I'm saying? And in this particular case, it is the European. You see what I'm saying? It is the European.
meaning they're the agents.
They're the agents. And not only they're the agents, they set up a system now that make the subjects, which would be the original people caught in this mess, enemies. And not only did they set up a system, in later life, the human system itself set up by the architect of these gods in the heavens that no longer exist is also a form of the enemy. So humanity itself is the enemy. And that, my friend, is the ultimate riddle on why you would label things dark in the first place. It's a conspiracy for the modern man or the modern adversary to keep you out of something, is to tell you that it is wicked. And it is a conspiracy in the aspect of the greater scheme of things of the people who set up this earth, is to always keep man himself away from the mysteries that those gods, a set of gods, would also be evil. And the earth itself, existence itself, can also be evil. I know I'm going way ahead of myself.
No, it ties in though.
But it all ties in.
Yeah.
We just urge people to, sometimes things line up this way because we urge people to never be satisfied with getting everything off of one tape. But we got enough information. I have enough tapes. And there's clearly enough books out here to understand the greater aspect of what I'm trying to put forth.
Okay.
What I'm trying to put forth.
Okay. Well, just just one other thing I want you to clear up.
Yeah.
Though. So when you say the architect, does that? So what? Somebody started this shit and then they just poofed. You know what I mean? And then this spirit left, affected these white people in such a way that they decided they wanted.
Well, I think that's kind of premature. We have to go all the way back to the beginning of this, prior to the earth aspect, because this didn't start with the world that we know. This started in the heavens. This started in the origin. It started in the primordial.